Yo guys, Haku here with my review of the new Tower of God chapter. Tower of God's finally back and we got chapter 276, which is season 2, episode 196. And while I am admittedly very, very hyped that Tower of God is back, I am also, I also don't think I'm quite as blown away by this chapter as what I'm seeing from everyone else. Which, hold on to the hate for now, but I guess I'm not really, I didn't feel it as much. I didn't think we got a ton. Of course, it was a transitional chapter, but I don't think we really just got anything that really blew me away. It was good, don't get me wrong, but it just didn't blow me away or anything upon return. So, I am really glad at where we started back. We start with the Bomb and Yuri hug all the way starting right where we left off, which is good. I kind of like that we did that. Now, a large portion of this chapter was simply everyone reacting to Yuri Zahard, and the reactions were funny. They were good. Violent Turtle. There were good reactions, and we saw the reactions from, I think, Kun, Rak, Sachi, Boro, Prince, Akraptor, and Yiwa. So that was all great, and I don't know, I feel like I'm torn. It's one of those chapters where I'm torn, because on the one hand, I really do say, looking back, okay, we spent half the chapter on reactions, or maybe not literally half, but we spent a significant portion of the chapter on those reactions. And that may have been a little much, but then on the other hand, I myself think that I really like getting to see each different character and their thoughts, even if briefly. So, Bomb talking about Uruk was great. That was one of the best parts, for sure. I think everybody really liked that part. It was really funny. And moving on from there, we just got, we go off screen for it, but we are shown that Bomb tells Yuri about his relationship with FUG and about what happened after his disappearance on the floor of tests. And from there we cut over to Evan and Ryun. And Ryun is just so adorable. She is just so cute this chapter, using her pocket as like a little kickball. And it's interesting to note that when they talk back and forth, there's the note that says that guides are either classified as red witches or silver dwarves, and we had known from previous whatever that Evan Edrock's race was known as silver dwarf, and Ryun was of a race known as red witch. So it's interesting to me, are they the only two races that can be guides, and guides are either one of those two, or was that just to note that they were calling each other by like their racial name, not by their actual given name, by saying, yo, redhead, or I'm not going to talk to a silver dwarf. So the best part of the chapter for me, Evan, of course, says that he remembers Ryun because he saw her at the floor of test. And it's really, really interesting to see that all come back this far down the road, because way back in Volume 1, Evan did see her leaving Yu Han-sung's office, and it was never brought up again. So it's crazy that that happened all the way back in Volume 1, and it's coming back into play now. But the best part of the chapter was when Ryun explains to him that she's not forcing Bomb onto a path. She's letting him make his own decisions, letting him make his own path. And she says to Evan, letting somebody make their own decisions, that's an easy way to go too. That I don't have the right to make his decisions for him. I am letting him forge his own new path. So that was really awesome, and I really like what it means for the story. How Ryun is just following Bomb with what he chooses to do, and how it lets us know that Ryun is really there for Bomb, and that Bomb is really doing what he wants to do, climbing the tower, and I really like that. So we also get a scene now with Rachel's team, which I'm really glad we got to see them. In the scene, of course, we get to see finally Traveler 100% confirmed, definitely, because we see him without the hood, and he's got the same little neck thing that Traveler wore, or the neck thing going up from his jacket or whatever, and he's got the orange hair and eyes. It's gotta be Traveler, so I'm glad we finally got that pretty much confirmed. I'm not sure why we hadn't seen him without the hood until now. Actually, maybe it wasn't for the audience to not know who the character was, because of course a ton of people were guessing that it was Traveler. Maybe it was so that the audience would still know, okay, that's Traveler, but it would keep Bomb from recognizing him because Bomb had met Traveler before. So if that's the way that was set up, that's actually a really awesome way of doing it, because that explains why, even though we all pretty much knew it was Traveler, we didn't get to physically see it. And it's interesting that they did it because of that, and not how like SIU did Pedro, where each time we saw Pedro, when we first saw him, he was like completely shrouded in darkness and you could only see his eyes, and then every subsequent time we saw him after that, there was less and less darkness and we could see Pedro more and more clearly, which was a really sort of awesome thing to do with the art of it, to like slowly make him more visible and more revealed over time. And it's interesting to see they did something else with Traveler, where the audience could tell it was Traveler, but it wasn't totally confirmed, and that was to keep us guessing, and also in canon to show that Bomb wouldn't have recognized him because he had the cloak on. So yeah, that was, I'm just now kind of piecing all this together, but that was really, really a cool way to do things. So basically, Joaquin is still in shock from his loss and being saved and stuff, and Rachel essentially forces him to become her subordinate. And what I mean by forces is that she has Emily. She is apparently the only one that can control Emily at this point, it would seem, for whatever reason, I guess. But she's the one that can control Emily, and Emily is the one that can find Albelda, or again, I'm calling the clone Albelda until we get a different name. But I figure our group will probably call her Albelda anyway. There's a chance they could call her White or Rowan, but I think that they'll probably end up calling her Albelda. But I mean, when I was reading it, I just thought that, like, I like Joaquin a whole hell of a lot more than Rachel, of course. I think Joaquin's really awesome. He's become a pretty favorite character of mine. Not like one of my all-time favorites or a big favorite or anything, but he's just a really, really good antagonist. And the whole time I was like, man, I wish Joaquin would just wreck that ass. Not in the dirty way. Wait. But yeah, I just think that Joaquin, don't make Joaquin a scrub lord SIU. Don't do it. Don't make him just a wimpy subordinate. I want to see him be tougher. Sort of like what happened with Elliot. I wanted to see Elliot, because Elliot was a badass. He was so cool. And then he just kind of got Shrek'd. So, I mean, like, I don't know. I hope that Joaquin can still be a badass, even though he lost Go to Hell. And Rachel's whole thing for getting Joaquin to be her subordinate, she says she wants him to take her to the floor of test and to get her a thorn that she can use. And that's where we leave off with them, and we end the chapter as a whole with Yuri revealing to Bomb that what she plans to do now, she's going to the floor of test and teaching Yu Han Sung a lesson and putting him in his place. So from here we could either follow, because SIU said in the blogs that this is a transitional chapter, that our real next arc after the Dollar Show starts next chapter. So I'm wondering if that means that this one chapter was all there was to the Yuri Zahard arc, and the next one we're going to follow Bomb's team climbing to get to the floor of death, or if we're going to continue with the Yuri Zahard arc, and we're going to leave Bomb's team to follow with Yuri as she goes to the floor of test to stand up to Yu Han Sung, and also Evankel might be there now, because it's been years since we were there and he wasn't there. And what the hell if Evankel's there? I've been thinking for a while, I don't think I've said it in a video, but but I thought that a character we knew that was a ranker was going to do something big, like really big, and get moved up to a really high number. But I wasn't expecting it to be Yuri, honestly. I was expecting it to maybe be Lero Ro becoming a high ranker, or for it to be maybe Ha Jin-sung gets moved up to like top 30 or something. I was expecting it to be something like that. But seeing that Ha Yuri is in her physical prime and she's like rising through the ranks still, she has 2 of the 13-month series, I wouldn't be surprised if we got to see Yuri take down Yu Han Sung. Would be impressive, and maybe get her moved to around the same position that Masheni is at, and that would further her and Masheni's sort of rivalry, which would be really cool. But on the other hand, maybe I don't really see her fighting Evankel. But if she fought Evankel and got moved up to rank 60, that would be huge for the series. But I think Evankel's too much. I would kind of like to see her and actually get to see her fight Yu Han Sung, though, because we know Yu Han Sung is the one that Bam got all of his range techniques from. Yu Han Sung has Anima powers, Dan Solsa powers, Wan Solsa powers. So Yu Han Sung is a beast. The Lero Ro described Yu Han Sung and the other high rankers as gods compared to gods. So I mean, if they are gods compared to gods, I want to see if like we get a fight between Yuri and Yu Han Sung, it has to be like 3 to 5 chapters of the fight, because they are just so powerful. And I'd be totally all in to see that, honestly. But also, honestly, I do kind of, and this is turning into a bit of a discussion along with the review, but that's what the review's supposed to be anyway. I feel like this chapter, if we do follow Yuri, it almost feels a bit too much like the stuff with Pedro, because it was like, I really liked Pedro as a bad guy, and of course I really like Yuri. And I thought their fight was freaking awesome. But you could see, even reading it week to week, I was like, okay, I'm really liking this, but I would really much rather see the Bam versus Joaquin fight. And I feel like this is kind of the same, where I would absolutely love to see Yuri versus Yu Han Sung, but at this point in the story, I'm a lot more interested in seeing Bam's team climb the tower. This really seems like something that should be happening much later in the story, honestly. The way it's happening this early in the story, it's kind of throwing me off a little. But it might not be totally happening this early in the story, because we could have Yuri saying that she's left to go find Yu Han Sung, and then we follow Bam's group for the next arc, and we get another few arcs even before we finally cut back to Yuri. She's made it to the floor, and we get to see her talking with Yu Han Sung and possibly even fighting him. But back to grading this particular chapter, I've got to say that the art was good, but not the greatest we've had by any means. Some of the art was a little bit janky here and there. Like the one image of Yu Han Sung, the head is like, the face is here, and then the forehead is like huge, or the forehead and hairline, it makes it look like the head's elongated. The hand is like really huge and blocky. So there is a little bit of art here and there that I wasn't a huge fan of. But SIU did just come back, so it's kind of meh. We'll see where everything goes. I mean, not every single chapter can be a 10 out of 10 like a lot of the Dollar Show was. And like I said, I did like this. I just felt like the art was okay, and the story itself didn't progress very far. We only had maybe like 3 or 4 scenes. We got reaction to Yuri, we got Bam's conversation with Yuri, we got Evan and Waryun, and we got Rachel's group. That's 4 scenes if I count the 2 different Bam conversation with Yuri as the same scene. So 4 or 5, depending on what you're counting. So not very much was done. So all that taken into consideration, I did, like I said, still think this was really good, even though it wasn't perfect by any means. So I'm going to give it 8 Ryun using her pocket as a kickball out of 10. 8 out of 10, totally fair. I really liked it, but it wasn't perfect, and it wasn't like quite up there with what a lot of the dollar show was for me. So like if you did like this video, comment down there. Definitely tell me your thoughts on the chapter and what you thought of my thoughts on the chapter. Subscribe for more Tower of God, The Walking Dead, One Piece, and a lot more, because I'll be doing a lot more. Just check out the channel, subscribe if you want. Follow on Twitter if you want as well, because I'll be posting updates there whenever I need to update anything, and I'll post there whenever I post a new video. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.